Well, welcome to United Matters channel. How are you guys? And where you watching us from? Good morning. Rock and David is my name as we bring you stories of Mason Mount to Manchester United as we are being tipped of tracking and monitoring Mason Mount's situation at Chelsea. Is that true? Yes or no? I'm going to come out and give you my view. Scott McTominay price set. United 100% willing to sell a player called Scott McTominay out of the club of Manchester United. And what else? Ten Hag has called upon United fans to gang up on Thursday to come up as they United beat Barcelona in a game that is going to be happening at Old Trafford on Thursday in the Carabao Cup. Carabao Cup is Sunday in the UEFA Europa League, a match that is going to be played on Thursday as a playoff down there. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. Rock and David is always my name. Now, let's talk a little bit about the story that has been reported to us by James Ollie, senior football reporter at the ESPN, that Manchester United are monitoring and tracking Mason Mount's situation as his contract talks with Chelsea has stalled. Now, this time round, I'm not even going to give them a chance to come in here and really try to make us get fed on this story, because however much Mason Mount is left with on his contract, you get, his contract talks are stalling. He's being linked to everyone. He's being linked to Liverpool. He's being linked to Manchester City. He's being linked to Manchester United. And who is doing all this? I think it's his agent. His agent is cooking up this, that the player doesn't want to stay at Chelsea because he knows that there is a lot of pressure at the club of Chelsea. And when you look at the way he plays, I don't see him as a Ten Hag player. Mason Mount is not a Ten Hag player. I've seen very many people coming out and trying to really go into the reply section calling for his signing. But where in the world would Mason Mount play at Manchester United? I'm not saying that he's a very bad player, but I don't see Ten Hag spending a lot of money to go ahead and really sign him, because Bruno Fernandes does better in that position. Donny van de Beek, if at all he finds himself up and picks himself up to get himself back where he wants, he does a better job than Mason Mount. And if at all he really picks up himself and hits the ground running again, Donny van de Beek, like he started playing for United when he came in through from Ajax, I believe he does a better job than Mason Mount. Then Eriksson is another player that can play into that number 10 role of Manchester United. He does it better than Mason Mount. Lastly, there is Michel Sabitzer. He's a player that has shown us that he can play well in double pivot, but we know him playing as a cam is another position where he thrives in a lot, and that's where Mason Mount plays. I've not seen Mason Mount play in very many other different positions of the pitch. He plays as a central attacking midfielder, all behind that forward of Manchester United. So we're having very many options into that, and I believe the option to go in for is for Sabitzer to sign for Manchester United because he offers us a lot, and Ten Hag has emphasized that he wants players that are really versatile. That's why he wanted a Frankie de Jong, because Frankie de Jong is a versatile player that will all come out and rely with, because he can play as a CDM, he can play as a central attack midfielder, he can play in the double pivot, and Ten Hag has gone ahead to really orchestrate that in the different games we've played. Look in the game of Leicester that we played recently. He got Dalot from the right back and played him as a left back, as he brought on Bissaka, and Dalot switched left on the left back. Sancho came in through and played as a central attacking midfielder as a number 10. I had even not counted Sancho as a number 10. And when you look at all those, they have a better job they're doing, better than Mason Mount. So I don't believe that he fits the profile of a player that Erik ten Hag would love to buy at Manchester United, because there is a player that is available to be bought, there is a player who is available and has gone ahead to prove a point that is good at Manchester United, known as Sabitzer. Sabitzer is just like 20 million pounds. That's the amount of money but Bayern Munich wants. And we look at Sabitzer, he's a more talented, technically gifted player than Mason Mount. To me, I believe it's the agent of Mason Mount trying to trade these stories around to pile pressure on Chelsea. But I believe even if you do that on Chelsea, there is no way you are winning this battle, all trying to really force him to Manchester United, because we are not that kind of team that always goes for such an effort. I think for Liverpool, he can fit the style of play of Liverpool, according to me, because Liverpool is a team that has always and always gone ahead to want players like Mason Mount. Because if at all you're having Chamberlain, Harvey Elliott is really talented. He's a talent. Why don't you contain Mason Mount with Alcantara this season looking very bad? I think you can get in Mason Mount on a chip because he's left with 1 year on his contract, and the situation at Chelsea is not really helping him thrive because Graham Potter doesn't believe in Mason Mount. That's why you see it that he rarely starts him, and in his central attack midfield position, he plays either he's playing João Felix or he's playing Kai Havertz. Who else plays in that position better? Because he doesn't trust in Mason Mount. And I've seen people coming out and really ganging at Mason Mount. That is a very good player, guys. You know, that is a disrespect to players that play into the central attack midfield position, because to me, stats, however much they are good, they've gone ahead to kill off this game of football. That's it. Mount Mason is one of those players that his talent is not all that much. Mason Mount is being praised because of his stats and not assists, goals. That is Mason Mount for you. But I don't think if you're Erik ten Hag, who wants to see your central attack midfielder creating very many chances other than scoring in goals, because scoring goals for Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United is a bonus. That's it. But the most important thing he's assigned to do is to create and really give us the tempo. And can Mason Mount handle that? I doubt he can. That's why I don't believe that he's one of those players that Erik ten Hag should go for. Now, although it's like that we are being linked to Mason Mount, there is a player that is wanted out by Manchester United, known as Scott McTominay. And we are being told by Foot Insider that Manchester United have set a £25 million asking price for Scott McTominay. Erik ten Hag is open to selling the midfielder in the summer. Even in the January transfer window, Newcastle wanted him and United wanted £30 million. I don't know what it has really called in for United to go on and really sell Scott McTominay at that price, because I believe there is a lot of more in Scott McTominay. Than the price tag they've put on his name. I think he deserves more money. He should really be sold at around £30 million less. £30 million, that will be okay. But if at all you tell me £25 million, that is too less for this player. A player whose contract is expiring in June 2025 with an option of 1 year. How many years are those? 3 years on his contract. If at all he had a contract that was running down in 2024, I would have gone ahead to accept that it's £25 million price. But I don't believe that he's going to go for £25 million. I know Scott McTominay wouldn't love to leave Manchester United, but he wants to play football. He wants to play ball, and Ten Hag will sit him down and tell him, please, the fact is you are not part of my plans, and it's high time you found yourself out, because he's wanting a more suitable player to come in and play as a backup CDM for Casemiro, and Scott McTominay isn't that kind of player. Though I believe when Casemiro is away and Scott McTominay is present, at least he can do the job like at 50% rate, but we need a player who can really come in and at least do what we call a super cover-up into that position, because Casemiro is 30. We need to get the next Casemiro, bring him in at Manchester United, and obviously groom him to become a player playing to that position. And who is that going to be? I don't know. But I believe we should get a minimum of £30 million from Scott McTominay, even 40, because Scotland is in the UK, not so. So he qualifies to be called a UK citizen. And you know what it means selling these players. I believe they should go in and really get in close to £30 million from a player called Scott McTominay. It's painful. I know people who love Scott McTominay, and there is a gang here that has gone ahead to really show love of Scott McTominay, that is loved. But guys, after seeing what Casemiro does, I think you know where the levels are supposed to be. If you stick with Scott McTominay, that is a very huge drop off. You get? You are downgrading yourself, and levels are really dropping. So we need those levels to be upside there, not down. So I think in the summer he's one of those players that is going to be sold, and the others that I believe are going to be sold are Harry Maguire, Brandon Williams, Alex Telles, Twanzebe, who else? There is another player that deserves to be sold. Freddie, it's 50-50. Dean Henderson, obviously for him, is really leaving because he doesn't want to be at the club of Manchester United, and he has told the manager that I won't even return, because Ten Hag was really trying to convince him to return to Manchester United to be as a second backup goalkeeper. He said, no, I'm not returning. And Ten Hag said, I don't want to keep players at Manchester United who don't want to play for the club. And I think that gesture alone confirmed to Erik Ten Hag that he should find himself space and not even think about him. We'd rather sell him and get between 30 and 40 million pounds. Now, I think the sales of this summer are really going to be so gigantic. They are going to cause a lot of noise at Old Trafford, because players that you least expect to be sold are going to be sold. I'm even told that even Antoine Martial is one of those that the club is really willing to sell, though I find his sale hard. He's injury prone, talented player, and how much will they get from him? Will they try to go in and bring in two strikers? Because that means when you sell Antoine Martial, you have to bring in two strikers. That's it. So I believe, let's wait and see. But for Scott McTominay, I think he's one of those that his game time is really reducing. Game in, game out, he needs to find himself a position to play. Newcastle is one of those teams that are really scouting Scott McTominay. West Ham have really gone ahead to name him as the replacement of Declan Rice. And I believe if at all he goes to a team like West Ham or Newcastle and is played regularly, I think he can turn out into a player that will try to prove to the world that, all right, I was good, but Ten Hag never gave me a chance. But we will know Ten Hag gave him a chance, but he misused it in the opening games of the season. And then that's why United went in for Casemiro to come in and do the job into the perfect way. That's why he came out and said, I'll fix it, and he fixed it, and is the CDM that is the best in the world. And that is it concerning Scott McTominay. And let's see what Ten Hag has to do or has to say for the game of Barcelona on Thursday. Now, Ten Hag has really gone out and put out a statement after the game of Leicester City that he won at Old Trafford, that is on Sunday. And his mind now is on the game of Barcelona. I saw a journalist trying to ask him a question about what the plan is going to be like of Manchester United after everything that is gone down at Old Trafford as we beat Leicester by 3-0. Do you know what he said? He said the following: that make sure you come Thursday. It's a big game, so be there. We beat Barcelona together. That's what he said. And I think you noticed him at the end of the game while he was walking out of the pitch. He was trying to talk to the fans, and they asked him, what were you telling the fans? He was telling them, make sure you come on Thursday. It's a big game, so be there. We beat Barcelona. And I think he just believes that Barcelona is a done and dusted job. And where does he get that mantle to even talk bravely like that? It's simple. Erik Ten Hag is welcoming back very many players into this game. Lisandro Martinez, Sabitzer, Casemiro, they are back. Then Antoine Martial Anthony, Scott McTominay, close to 6 players are going to be part of this squad that missed out on the trip to Spain. And why can't you get excited? Because we all know that if at all you had all our players in, Barcelona was going to be beaten at their stadium, because we put there a situation that forced Barcelona to even come and fight from the back. That's it. So as things stand, I believe Ten Hag is putting out a message to fans of United, and whoever is a fan of United knows it, that they are not going to miss out. They shouldn't miss out on a fixture of United versus Barcelona on Thursday. So guys, well, thank you for watching in. Smash the like button, comment and share your thoughts on Mason Mount to Manchester United. Welcome in the comment section below. Scott McTominay selling price set. Also, I want to hear your thoughts, because I know there is a minority that doesn't want him here. Sorry, there is a minority that does want him here, but there is a majority that doesn't want to keep him here. So what I want to see, who are winning? Who of the United fans want him out? Who of the United fans want him to stay? And lastly, what are your thoughts about Ten Hag ganging up United fans to come in numbers and support him as beats Barcelona? He has also hinted about where he gets his drive to really have that top working mentality at the club, because even after the game is done, he's the last person to leave Carrington, because he's planning for the next game with the managing team. So he's really obsessed and he loves his job, and he is really one of the kind that you will never find. He's a different species in a nutshell. I'm signing off for now. See you later. Good morning. May the Lord bless you abundantly. I'm out.